In this series, I visit the American West, experiencing some of the dramatic landscapes this part of the world is renowned for. Over the next 10 days, I'll be exploring 3 different areas: Death Valley National Park, the Alabama Hills, and the Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada. Join me on the first few days of this trip as I explore Death Valley National Park. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to Death Valley National Park in California. What a way to kick off the year with a visit to this spectacular landscape. This is a place that I've been wanting to come to probably for about 10 years now. I remember when I first heard about this place, I kind of thought, what an incredible place to visit one day, and yeah, here I am. It's often referred to as the land of the extremes. It's one of the driest places in North America, one of the hottest places in the world, and one of the lowest points in North America as well. So it's a pretty unique place, and I'm really excited for this trip. So I arrived last night and got to my motel quite late, so yeah, this is my first morning here, and what a spectacular morning. Got a beautiful sunrise over Zabriskie Point, which is probably one of the most visited viewpoints in the park. It's nice and easy to get to, and there's not much of a walk, so I kind of thought it'd be a good one to kick off the visit. So I'm walking along the ridge at the moment, and it's not actually the main viewpoint, but I sort of came, I don't know, about half a mile from that main viewpoint. And I could see this morning there was a lot of people there, so I thought it was quite a good decision to come here on this side and enjoy the peace and quiet, take some photos. But yeah, I suppose Death Valley it seems like it's one of those places that you either love it or you hate it. I'm sure for a lot of people it's just a desert, you know, there's not much to do here, but I think as a photographer it really is a dream location. Lots of different textures, rock patterns, there's sand dunes, mud cracks, so much to photograph here. I'm here in the States for a total of 10 days, and I'm going to be spending most of my time in Death Valley, but I have included a couple of nights in other locations just to experience the broader area, and I thought that might be a good way to kind of add in a bit of variety, make it feel more like a road trip, I suppose. It's quite interesting actually, because now the sun is coming out, it sort of washes the colour of the rock, kind of makes it look like it's all one colour, whereas, you know, if it's a little bit overcast and at sunrise and sunset you get to see all the different patterns and colours. So yeah, definitely worth getting here early or visiting late in the day. So I've just been driving around for the last couple of hours, and I've come to the other side of the park, and I've stumbled upon this amazing area full of cracked mud. It must go on for miles, and it's like really satisfying to walk on. It's very sort of crunchy. So I think I might stay around this area, see if I can get a nice sunset. I think there's a really nice image to be had. I kind of want to get those images that portray that desert-like landscape. So just as I'm waiting for the sun to set, might be worth mentioning that I'm visiting in mid-January, which is a pretty good time to come here. I think anywhere between like September and March is a good time. I think anything outside of that is going to be far too hot. And yeah, the weather forecast for this week looks pretty good actually. It looks fairly clear and warmer than I thought it would be. But it's interesting. It's like all deserts. It gets really cold at night, really cold in the morning, but then as the day goes on, it gets hotter and hotter. All right, so the sun is just about to go behind the mountain, and what a beautiful evening. What a wonderful first day as well. Can't wait to see what the rest of the trip has in store. And yeah, I'm just sort of getting the last few images. So I've come to the Mesquite Dunes this morning, where I've come to an elevated viewpoint, and yeah, I can sort of use the telephoto lens and get a really cool perspective on these dunes, but getting a really spectacular sunrise at the moment. Get some nice colours. Wow, that was pretty spectacular. One of the best things that I've seen on the trip so far. Just how the light kind of just sort of gradually swept over the dunes was so cool. And yeah, they just become so vivid in that warm sunlight, and yeah, add so much contrast. So I think after this, I'm going to stay in this general area. Probably going to head to Mosaic Canyon, which is about 5-10 minutes up the road. Apparently that's a pretty good trail to do, so looking forward to that. Oh well, I'm about 10 minutes into the trail and it looks incredible. Absolutely amazing. Like the rock face just towers above you and you're kind of wandering through. You sort of feel very small. Yeah, this is a really interesting trail. I've sort of got to the point where I don't really want to go any further, just because it involves a little bit of scrambling. The first part of the trail, probably the better bits. Yeah, the other bits are still impressive, but the rocks aren't as interesting. So yeah, I think I'm gonna turn around and head back. So it's probably worth mentioning that a lot of the places I'm visiting, there's no phone reception, there's no service, so kind of make sure that you've got some kind of like offline map. So I'm using an app called Gaia GPS, which works offline, and basically what you can do is track your route. So if I did get lost, I can always kind of look at the app and then retrace my steps. So yeah, that's kind of one thing that you can have to ensure a bit more safety. And for driving around, I've got loads of maps downloaded off Google Maps. Also, a few weeks before the trip, I got the latest iPhone, which I'm using a lot for filmmaking and recording and stuff, but has a pretty cool feature which allows you to communicate with satellites. So when you don't have phone reception, you can use that to kind of text in an emergency situation, of course. So it's still quite early in the morning, but the trail is getting quite busy. I can imagine this is quite a popular one, so probably recommend coming here early in the day. I then stopped off at the general store in Stovepipe Wells to stock up on some supplies, and then headed to the Furnace Creek Visitor Centre to collect a physical map and learn a bit more about the history, geography and climate of Death Valley. In the afternoon, I then ventured to the Mesquite Dunes. Oh wow, absolutely loving the dunes, giving me flashbacks to Morocco. Yeah, it's fantastic. I just love all the different shapes and shadows and textures. It just looks fantastic. I've sort of spent most of the afternoon just wandering around here. Well, it's been another amazing day here in Death Valley National Park, and yeah, really loved the dunes, loved exploring this afternoon. I ended up covering quite a lot of ground, a lot of steps, and I'm quite tired as well, because yeah, as the sun sort of got lower and lower, the light got better and better, but the dunes got bigger and bigger, so I got more and more out of breath. But yeah, it's been fantastic. Just love the colour of the mountains in the back there. Turns a lovely, like purpley orange colour. I noticed that this morning. But yeah, it's been nice to be back in the dunes. You know, we had an amazing experience in the Sahara Desert in Morocco, so it's kind of nice to experience that again. There's just something about it, you know, it's so breathtaking. For sunrise the next morning, I decided to head back to Zabriskie Point and try a different viewpoint. So just been to Zabriskie Point for another sunrise, and I went to a different location this time. Went to the main one, and yeah, equally as spectacular. Not a cloud in the sky this morning. So I'm going to head now to a place called Badwater Basin, which ordinarily is a dried up lake bed, and it's like a salt pan. But I've seen pictures and I've heard recently that because of the storms from late last year, there's a thin layer of water. I think it's called Lake Manly. It'll be quite good to see, I think. So I've made it out to Lake Manly. which, yeah, is quite a rare occurrence. Usually this whole area is just a thin layer of salt, but yeah, it's filled with water, which means you get these amazing reflections out on the water of the surrounding mountains. It just looks phenomenal. It's not a breath of wind, so I'm getting a perfect reflection along the water. I think there might be like fighter jet practice or something in the nearby valley, because yeah, every now and again you get this thunderous roar. Yeah, I'm quite impressed actually, because I was expecting a small little lake, but it kind of looks like it goes on for a really large area. Part of me is a bit disappointed, to be honest, because this area is obviously usually a salt plain, and it's like really dry, and you get these really interesting like hexagonal shapes that the salt just forms into, which makes for some incredible images. And it was kind of one subject that I was really sort of looking forward to photographing here, because of the water and just how sort of saturated the ground is. You know, those kind of shapes and patterns aren't here, unfortunately. After the visit to Badwater Basin, I headed back to my hotel room to get some rest and recharge for the afternoon. And it was quite funny actually, because it was the first time I'd seen the hotel in daylight, and I was quite surprised by the outside area. I certainly wasn't expecting a chapel and ducks in a pond. The hotel was called Longstreet Inn, and it was pretty good, to be honest. The only real downside was the 30-minute drive each day to reach the park, but other than that, it had all the facilities you'd need. Plus, I think it's about half the price of the hotels that are located inside the park. I then revisited the Mesquite Dunes in the afternoon and for sunset, and this time I went to a different area of the dunes. Wow, another amazing day in the dunes. Yeah, beautiful, very tricky to get some good photos here, but the experience is so good. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found it interesting and useful. Join me in the next video where I'll be making my way to the Alabama Hills. It was a really incredible visit and definitely exceeded my expectations. I think it's a real hidden gem for this area, so I'm excited to share that with you.